Welcome to this video on zeros of a function. By the end of this video, you should be able to determine the zeros of a function using a graph, algebraically, or by using a graphing calculator. If you do not have your graphing calculator in front of you, be sure you grab it, and if not, you'll want to go to Desmos and use their graphing calculator. So what are the zeros? So we're going to talk about this in two places. We're going to talk about this if you're looking at a graph or solving for this algebraically. So graphically, a zero is the points at which the graph crosses or touches the x-axis. So we're talking about the x-axis and where the graph crosses it. So that's going to help us when we go on to name these. So the points at which the graph crosses or touches the x-axis. Algebraically, it's the points at which f of x equals 0. And what that really means, we're saying where y equals 0, and so we're going to have to do some solving there. Zeros, or where the graph crosses or touches the x-axis, are referred to in many different names, not just zeros. It could also be called a root, an x-intercept, or a solution. All three of these mean the same as zeros. So graphically, if you're wanting to find out where the graph crosses the x-axis, crosses or touches, this is the easiest. So you're just going to look at the graph and look at the x-axis, and what is the x value right there where the graph crosses or touches? That x value is 2. So that's the zero of that graph. Okay? But there can be differing numbers. So if we look at number 2, this graph crosses the x-axis here as well as right there. So you want both of those. So these are discrete points from each other. So remember back when we used the scrolls, I have two different x values. One is a -2 and the other one is the +1, and then I'll close my scroll. Do you want to list both of them? Okay. Look at number 6. We'll finish the rest of these in class. So this one crosses the graph, the x-axis, 3 times. So you're going to want to list all 3 of these. So we have an x value of -5. This one's at the origin, so the x value is 0. And this one is at 3. And then I'll close my scroll. All right. So you're going to want to be able to identify the x values, and that is your 0 or your solution or your root or your x-intercept, but we're only talking about the x value here. Let's flip these over and see how to do this algebraically. So on the front side, I said what is a 0, and algebraically I said it's the points at which the f of x equals 0 or when y equals 0. So really what you want to do is you want to set the function equal to 0. Okay, and then you're going to solve for x. All right, so here's what I mean. We could write 0 equals, you guys usually do better when it's on the other side. It doesn't really matter. That's your symmetrical property. So I'm going to say 4x minus 8 equals 0. Then I'm going to solve for x. So we'll add 8 to both sides. I have 4x equals 8. Divide both sides by 4, and you get x equals 2. So that graph is going to cross the x-axis at 2. All right, so let's try a couple more of these. Let's look at number 10, because it has a fraction. We like to try these out. So we have 2/3 x minus 6 equals 0. All right, so to start solving, add 6 to both sides. We have 2/3 x equals 6. So from here, there's a couple different ways to solve this, but I don't like that 3 down here. I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. The 3's canceled to a 1 there, so I have 2x equals 18. So my final answer is x equals 9. So that's algebraically. You just take your equation, set it equal to 0, and you're solve for x. Graphing calculator. All right. So what you want to do here is you want to hit the y equal button to enter your function. You don't have to put the f of x part. It's already in your calculator. And then you're going to hit graph, and you're going to look for where the equation crosses or touches the x-axis. So my first one, x squared minus 16. So your x is right up here next to the alpha button. So x, and then I'm going to hit the squared button, minus 16, and press graph. Give it a second, and when I look at it, this one's going to cross twice, once at -4 and once at +4. So we're just going to write x equals -4, +4. Okay? Let me show you how this works for Desmos. It works just as well. You can use Desmos on your phone. All right, see if we make the window just a little bit bigger here. Okay. So let's put in, I'm going to put in for number 15. So number 15 says negative x. And for square, you're going to use that caret above the 6 squared. I'm going to drop back down, minus 2x plus 24. Oops, I put equals 24. Sorry about that. Plus 24. So really all you're worried about is where does the graph cross or touch the x-axis. So here it crosses at -6 and at +4. So you're going to write for number 15, x equals -6, +4. So you can use either Desmos or your graphing calculator. You can download Desmos and use it on your phone because you have to be able to do this. This is the only way that you're going to know how to do this. So let's try 17. So I'll go in for my y equals. I'll clear out what's already there. I have x. My squared button is right here. That's a little hard to see. Squared minus 3x minus 28. And then hit your graph button. Give it a second to finish graphing. And so you don't need to see the whole thing right now. We're only focusing on the x-axis. So it crosses at -1, 2, 3, at -4, and at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to write x equals -4 and +7. All right, let's try one more. So number 19, y equals, clear out what's already in there. And we have x cubed, so x, you're going to use this up caret right here, just like if we were using Desmos, and put a 3. And then I want to drop back down, minus 5x squared plus 2x plus 8, and hit graph. Gonna give it a second. There we go. So you can see this crosses 3 times. So we need to list all 3 x's. So that's -1, +2, and +4. So x equals -1, +2, and positive 4. So what I want you to do is I want you to try this number 21 all on your own, either using Desmos or your graphing calculator, and then pause the video while you're doing that, and we'll come back and check to see how you did. Alright, so here's what I've got. This one's really close together. It goes through at -1, at 0, and at +1. Alright, so we're going to finish these up in class. Hopefully that was helpful. See you there.